Let me pull up a chair. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, but those that have followed me for some time, I'm going to talk about what's happening with me in Trinidad. First and foremost, let me welcome you to my new channel. It is Chris Must List Raw, real and raw. It's a daily diary of my life as I travel around the world. This is the raw channel. I got a main channel, Chris Must List, but this is the raw channel, the daily diary type shit. I got Tristan in the back.
What's up, guys?
What's your channel?
Tris Must List.
So
Check me out.
I'm Chris Must List. He's Tris Must List. Check him out. We're about to start our day, but first and foremost, let me get something off my chest. Look, I've been on YouTube for about 4 years, and some people have considered me a controversial YouTuber, and I don't know why, right? I lack the element of fear. Like I'm not afraid of things, so it gets me into predicaments and locations that the average YouTuber might not want to get themselves into, if that makes sense. I'm gonna keep this real and raw, very little editing. Just over a year ago, I went to Trinidad and Tobago for the first time. I knew no one. I didn't know anything about Trinidad music. I didn't know the artists. I didn't know anything, right? There was one gentleman I spoke to. His name is Johnny. We'll leave it at that. We'll get into Johnny a little bit more along the way. Johnny Bravo, that is. So Johnny Bravo and I spoke a few times on Instagram. Talked about what to sort of expect. That's it. He's a bodyguard for celebrities. And if you watch my content, you'll see I don't use bodyguards. So my intention was never to use a bodyguard. I went to Trinidad for the first time. Beautiful country. I love it. I can't wait to get back. Hopefully one day I can get back. On my day one, I had no plans. So I simply walked the streets talking to people with my camera. I want to find out, like, what's the lay of the land? I want to see downtown. I really didn't even know how to get into the city. It was all brand new for me. But I got down there, and after about 6 to 8 hours of walking around, I hit an area that's notorious for gangs. Went in, interviewed some of the so-called gang members. I can't confirm nor deny what their role in the gang was. But I heard a lot of negativity off camera. You know, a lot of people saying, Chris, this is a dangerous place. Be careful. Even the kids in the video were saying, like, Chris, you know, don't go here or don't go there. Just stay, you know, in the safe zone. But, you know, my content is exploring. So I upload the video. It does well. A lot of people watch the video. Day 2 comes and I start hearing a little bit more. People know I'm in town and I'm a fairly popular YouTuber. You know, my channel at the time probably had around 500,000 subscribers. So different hoods start reaching out to me saying, Chris, come to my hood. Let me show you a side of Trinidad that no one else is going to see. And I start learning about local artists, you know, K-Man 6, Plumpy Boss, Prince Swanee, who was out of the country at the time, Boy, just to name a few. And then my mission became, like, let me go see every single one of the most dangerous hoods, period. And I did. I met Bangum Smurf, formerly of G Unit. He was exported back to Trinidad and living into Trinidad. I met him. We got along very well. And I documented day-to-day life in all these various hoods. The type of hoods that normal Trinities are not going into these hoods. And I went with my camera and I asked questions like, how do we bring peace to your community? Because most don't know this, but Trinidad has one of the highest murder rates in the world. They called a state of emergency after I left because they cannot control the violence. And what I noticed on the news was, like, the violence wasn't just young men. It wasn't just gang members. It was home invasions. It was girls because they dated a guy that might have been in a gang. It was grandmas being attacked. And it was children being killed in drive-bys. So it's not like there was no rules to this. I'm accustomed when I deal with gangs that there's rules. You know, a man that's in a gang shoots a man that's in a gang. But Trinidad had a different set of rules. So I filmed the content in the hoods. But not only that, I also, you know, I wanted to see more of the country. So I filmed a video, for example, on the beach, What do the beaches of Trinidad look like? There's no mention of gangs. I actually got quite intoxicated that day and enjoyed myself. I also went to Carnival. I had a great time. We partied all night, TJ and I. And the party started at 3 a.m. Forgive me, I can't think of the name of the party, but it went all day and everybody loved me and everybody in Trinidad treats me with so much respect. So I don't want to make it look like I was only shooting gangs. I wasn't. You can look at my content on my main channel now. I got a lot of content. I even, for example, interviewed the police chief as part of my content. But as I was there for 2 weeks, I started getting a little, how do I put this? I was hearing stuff, gossip about myself, about Chris, be careful, the police are going to come after you. So I just went about my business. I'm like, what are they going to come after me for? I'm not doing anything. I'm documenting reality, right? So then what happens, and I don't even know if I should be telling you all this. This is an open case. I'm still right now going against very major charges. I'm out on bail and I'm facing 2 years in jail, but I'm an honest person. This is a raw channel. I got to remain honest with you. So I got a phone call from somebody. Don't know how they got my phone number. It's a local phone number I had. And they're like, this is the police. We want to talk to you. And I'm like, look, before I talk to you, I'll get back to you. Basically, I went to the Canadian Embassy. I didn't tell them that, and I just wanted to talk to them. I'm like, what are my rights here? Why would the police want to talk to me? What did I do wrong? I didn't commit any crime. If you watch my videos, even in the worst hoods, the type of questions I'm asking are how do we bring peace to your beautiful country? Right? I'm asking because I want to know. I love Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to bring peace. And am I the guy that's going to bring peace? No, probably not. But hopefully through the videos that I'm creating that nobody else in the world has ever created, where I went into the most dangerous hoods one after the next, I met the biggest artists and I met the biggest gangsters. And my questioning was always the same. How do we bring peace to your community? Is there anything we can do to stop the violence? So the police somehow or another showed up at the Canadian Embassy when I was there. Plainclothes officers showed up. I didn't tell them I was going. How did they know? Maybe the Canadian Embassy tipped them off. How else would they know? I left the embassy. Basically, the Canadian Embassy is get out of the country right away. And at that time, it was 5 or 6 in the evening. They really shook me. I was a little frightened, but I'm like, where can I go? It's not like I can just jump on a boat or charter a plane. I got to wait until tomorrow to book a flight. And when I left that day, there was 2 officers in plain clothes, and they were right outside the Canadian Embassy. Chris, they walked up to me. They're like, hey, I like your channel. I thought it was just a fan who wanted to take a picture. They're like, we're undercover officers, and we got questions for you about the videos you were shooting. And based on the recommendations I got by the embassy, I committed no crime, so I really have no reason to talk. As a person that documented, I didn't do anything wrong. I just simply filmed reality. The same reality that the government of Trinidad could not get to because they didn't care, right? So anyway, they came to me. They're like, would you like to come in for questioning? I'm like, am I under arrest? They said no. I said, no, I don't want to go in for questioning. I went back to my Airbnb as if everything were normal. I slept through the night. In the morning, bang, 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 6 a.m, SWAT, guns out, and they raided my Airbnb. They took my cameras. They took me. And when you take my cameras, there's nothing on it. When I meet somebody on the street, let's say even they have a gun, no matter what the country is, I'm not taking their information hey, can you give me your name and your address and your phone number? And I don't do that. Don't be ridiculous. And the video footage that they took from my memory card was exactly the footage that I uploaded, right? So they brought me in for questioning, right? And the group of charges they gave me were promoting a gang and participating in a gang. There was 3 or 4 bullshit charges that were just simply ridiculous. They had to drop the charges. After a day or 2 of questioning, and I was held in a police station, they realized they couldn't get me on these charges. Then they hit me with a harder charge, something called sedition. Now, sedition in very basic, raw terms is They're saying I went to Trinidad to sort of topple the government, to create like so much chaos in the city that the government gets overturned. Imagine me, as a simple man, that you can check my resume. I've been to many countries, 135 countries. Now I'm in Canada, showing the drug and homeless and violent problem in Winnipeg. Am I trying to topple the government? No. I'm trying to acknowledge a problem and simply document it. I have I don't even know the name of the politicians in Trinidad. So to accuse me of sedition is what the charge they gave me. Sedition is a very serious charge. You can face 2 to 5 years in jail. And I believe in Trinidad, nobody has ever been charged with sedition. So they hit me with some very hard charges. Now, my thoughts, and again, I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this, they're upset and they were embarrassed that I was able to go into these communities, a lot of them that had violence and crime and murder and guns, and document and have a real conversation with these people. They're not able to do that. They're not respected enough to do that. So what happens is they put me in jail, right? I think it's like a slap on the hand, like, Chris, don't do that again. That's what I thought, but it's much more than that. They want to sort of lock me in jail and throw away the key. Guys, I'm just giving you a little background story as to what happened a year ago so you can understand. So I spent a week in a jail cell, 2, 3 people with me, sometimes 4 or 5 or 15. Sometimes there's a guy that stole 15 cell phones from a cell phone store. Another time there's somebody that attempted murder. So, I mean, we're all grouped together. There was no problems because everybody knew who I was. So during my arrest, Johnny Bravo and TJ, the terrible junior, reached out to a lawyer that they know called CJ Williams. Now, CJ came into the headquarters where I was being detained and said, "Hey, I'm CJ." He had some big white earphones on. He was very loud and obnoxious in my eyes. He's not what a typical lawyer, and I'll get into that deeper because CJ is a very good friend and the best person I could have ever met in my entire life. But at that time, I was nervous. I'm like, I'm facing 2 to 5 years in jail. And this is who they send to help me, CJ. And for anybody that knows CJ, you'll understand. He has a suit on, but with slippers, like colorful socks. So CJ is going to defend me. He seems very smart, but very loud. So the Canadian Embassy is 100% aware of what's going on. And I'm going to keep this video fairly short. Let me get to the point. The Canadian Embassy knows what's going on. They're there because people have asked me, "Chris, why didn't Canada help?" Well, they're there. They said they can't do anything about it. They can just witness the problem, but they don't want to participate. So they're there. So like 10 minutes before my bail hearing, I got to meet with the Canadian Embassy, and they'll hate me for even being honest right now. They're like, "Chris, we cannot officially tell you to leave your lawyer, but we'll tell you that you should leave your lawyer. Canada says that you should get a better lawyer, and we found somebody better that will represent you free of charge." Okay? And at the time, I was pressured into signing a document, and I couldn't speak to CJ one-on-one. CJ appears in the bail hearing, and the judge virtually says, "CJ, you've been fired. You're not even representing Chris anymore." They give me some big guy. I'm not going to mention names. It's going to get me in trouble. But a big lawyer, a very big, powerful lawyer in Trinidad said he'll help me free of charge. We'll get to that after. Nothing in life is free of charge. So we fired CJ. And at that time, I really didn't know CJ too well. But I still felt bad. He got fired with a piece of paper and a pen. Now, CJ stayed online. It's a virtual, even though I'm being held in custody, the judge it's a virtual, like we're on a webcam, a Zoom call. So my new lawyer was able to get me bail. But what he didn't take into consideration, I don't know how, that you need a surety. You need somebody locally, because I'm not from Trinidad, that's willing to sign a document saying I can live with them. So basically I got bail, and the judge is like, "Well, who's this man going to live with?" And my lawyer at the time was in England. He's like, "Well, I don't know anybody." CJ jumps in online. Is like, "Well, even though I was fired, I will let Chris stay at my house." and he jumped in and saved the day. And this is after 6 long days in a prison cell. And if you haven't done jail time, you don't realize like 6 days in a prison cell is like eternity. All I wanted to do is get outside and see the sun and fresh air. So I get out on bail, and my only sort of rules are I'm not allowed to leave the country of Trinidad, and I have to reside at CJ's house. Now, the way it works in Trinidad is like all back to front. They publish the location where you're living. And also, what I didn't mention is the bullshit that happened when I was being held. A newspaper article that came out was like that I was working, the front page, literally the front page of the newspaper, was that I was working with police to identify gang members. Now, they did that to me when I was being held with gang members because they wanted to have me killed. There's no doubt in my mind they wanted to have me killed. Now, the person that wrote that write-up has since died. And because this is YouTube, I can't tell you how they died, but they died by self, if that makes sense. That man was looking for a big headline, but in return could have had me really in big problems. I was locked in a room full of gangsters, and you're saying I'm working with police, which I never worked with police. And that's the reason I was in jail, because had they, during the original questioning, if I would have pointed at a few people, said a few little things, then I probably would not be in the predicament I'm in now. So anyway, they take away my passport for 3 months. Say you're not allowed to leave the country. Now, during that 3 months, I was arrested again and again, held again and again with new charges. It's been a nightmare in my life, right? Instead of me being the YouTuber that simply documents reality, I became some controversial YouTuber that's here to destroy Trinidad, which obviously was never my intention. Come on, I've done this before. I've gone to so many countries and show the problems in the country, including my own. Doesn't mean I want to topple the government. It's just like, that's the story. If you watch Trinidad news at night or read the newspaper, you're going to read about murder and crime, etc. I didn't do anything different. I never spoke negatively about the government, nor like policies or rules or regulations. Never, because I'm a tourist. That's not my job. Anyway, I finally got released. It cost me a lot of money to get released. CJ is like heaven sent. He's, I've lived now almost 47 years. There has never been someone in my life more important to me than CJ. CJ Williams, he's a lawyer. If you're in Trinidad watching this and you need a lawyer, he is the man. He is the best, more than the best to me. What more can I say? So now, it's been a year. I always get, because my videos did very well in Trinidad. People will be like, Chris, come back to Trinidad. God, we love you in Trinidad. I'm banned from Trinidad. I am banned from Trinidad. And the reason for this video coming out now, I had court on Thursday, 3 days ago, and it's all bullshit. And let me speak frankly. It's bullshit, a complete waste of time. I've appeared before a judge virtually 30 times, and nothing has been done. Zero has been done. We have gotten nowhere. So, if this race is a 10-kilometer race, we've moved an inch. So now, after a year, a new judge has been called into to sit in front of my case, because the last judge has been promoted. Now, the prosecutor against me never prepared, never has the information. So, for example, the prosecutor, trying to get me in jail, will say, Your Honor, I need 1 more month to complete said task. A month goes by, and the judge will be like, have you completed the task? Oh, no, I've been busy. Okay, let's push it back another month. A month goes by, I say, oh, I had a speaking engagement. I did not complete the task. So another month goes by. Oh, I'm on vacation. So I did not complete the task. Okay, another month goes by. And it just keeps going. This could go on for years. There's no doubt it will go on for years. New judge came in this week, spoke very proper. I appreciated him because he spoke what he thought. He's like, guys, I'm new to this case. We did a 1-hour summary. He's like, this case is a mess. So let's get this straight. Chris is being charged with a very serious charge of sedition. Now I'm at a point where I can face 2 years in jail. But Chris is not allowed in the country because he's been banned. He's been deported. So they went through a process of deporting me without the prosecutor knowing, which is like unheard of. So you want me to face charges in your country, but I'm deported and I can't enter your country, right? Like, this is like, you don't have to be overly intelligent to understand. Their case against me is based on 4 words that I can't repeat, because what they did is they tried to charge me with all kinds of bullshit. It didn't stick because I'm not a criminal. I committed no crime. So in one video, when I asked a gang member, how do we bring peace to your community? The gang member said something like a nickname, half the dead. And I won't mention the nickname. Not a person's name, not like John Smith of address 123. They said, so-and-so half the dead. And I published it, not even realizing what was said. The same person that he mentioned is in like almost every Trinidad song where they talk about killing the guy. And again, taken out of context, it does seem very devilish. But when I asked, how do we bring peace to your community? Now, was everything that I did perfect? No, by no means. I embarrassed the government. I was able to do something that no government official could do. Period. They're not. Now, look, it's a new government in Trinidad. Maybe things have changed. But at the time, the leadership really took what I did as a personal insult. They really didn't like me. So I was in and out of jail. I was on the front page of the newspaper many, many times. Just search Chris Musselist Trinidad. You can read the newspaper or BBC and see the article about sedition. So it's been a year. The new judge that was appointed this week said, this is a mess. This is really, really a mess. It's a very, very prominent case. My case is very prominent. It's all over the news globally. But I haven't talked about it for a year because my lawyer is like, Chris, let's not open a new can of worms. But now it's been a year. The new judge is like, it's a mess. This is a mess, a disgraceful mess. He's like, can you please offer, let's work this out before it goes to trial. And the only offer I got, and the reason for me putting this video together on my diary, they said if I plead guilty to something I'm not guilty of, I am not guilty of, they will drop all charges. I'll have no criminal record. But all I have to do is just plead guilty. Look, my son is in the background. Where is he? Over there. I would never recommend in a million years for him to plead guilty to something he did not do. Sedition, if you Google it, is very serious. They're saying I came to the country with the intention to overturn the government. Okay? And even though this is a thorn in my ass, this is something that's on my mind every day because I love Trinidad and Tobago. I genuinely love Trinidad and Tobago, and I hope one day I can return safely. You know, when I was being arrested the first time, the same man that have me on charges right now brought me in the side room like, Chris, the same man, Mr. Lee, said, Chris, I don't want you. I'm not the one that wants to charge you. I'm on your side. He's like, this is the higher ups. It's the people above your pay grade, my pay grade, that want you arrested. Do you understand? He didn't want to arrest me, but he's the signing officer. He knew nothing I did was wrong. He told me he was a fan of my work. But at the time, the prime minister wanted to see me in jail. That same prime minister is playing golf somewhere. He's no longer prime minister. He's lost the election. It's crazy. Like, from the correctional officers to the one that ran the jail to the police, everybody respected me. They're like, Chris, you should not be here. All you were doing is showing the reality of Trinidad. And I can't tell you how many photos I took with police and military on the week before I went to jail. They're like, Chris, I want to get a picture with you because I respect you, because my family doesn't know how dangerous Trinidad is. And you're showing them. It makes like they can acknowledge that my work is hard. So they love me and they respected me. The gangsters love and respect me because they see me going alone, solo, into these hoods, one after the next. You'll see I had no problem with no one because I'm simply documenting reality. Now, at that time, Trinidad's murder rates were sky high. And they continue to be sky high a year later. So I get put into jail because there was like a long weekend after a long weekend and a holiday. I think I spent 6 days the first time in the St. Paul So if you guys know, like the 6 gang, St. Paul, at the end of the street, there's a police station. So I was put in with the 6 gang holding cell. Now, one of the good perks of jail, if that makes sense, in Trinidad is locals can bring you food. And, this, I didn't realize how popular I became in Trinidad. I was at the front page of every newspaper, and I had every restaurant coming and bringing food, not just for me, but for all my cellmates, which they loved. The correctional officers ate with us. And let me say, the correctional officers or the police officers in St. Paul were so respectful of everyone. There was a boy in my cell. I say boy because he was a young boy, crying every night for his mom. He had been charged or arrested for robbing somebody with a knife. And the officers were really, really good to him. Like, they could have just shunned him and like, they could have beat him up. They could have done a lot worse, but they were very respectful. So one of the memories I'll always keep of Trinidad is the police at that station, at that time when I was there, were very good and respectful people. So I went up for my first bail hearing. And this is like, I've never even told anybody this whole story, but today, right now, I'm going to tell it all. Right? And the leadership now were the same leadership that spoke highly about me in my case. Like, why are we trying to shoot the messenger? Chris didn't come to Trinidad and bring the problems. Chris acknowledged the problems, documented the problems, so we could fix the problems. So the plea, right now, they're telling me plead guilty and face no charges. And I said no. I said, CJ, to the lawyer, what is your recommendation? He said, no, we will never plead guilty to something we did not do. I don't want to ruin my reputation any further. I have committed no crime in Trinidad and Tobago. I had no ill intent. I simply documented what I see. So right now I am banned. This could take a year, 2 years, 3 years to get to court. No matter what happens, I love Trinidad and Tobago. I ended up facing like 3 or 4 weeks in jail overall, which is not easy. I don't want to be in jail. I wasn't meant for jail. I'm not committing a crime. Am I perfect? No. Did I commit the crime that they're accusing me of? Absolutely not. I simply stepped very closely to an unwritten rule not to embarrass a country that I'm in. I love Trinidad. Hopefully one day I can return. I appreciate CJ Williams, my lawyer, the best lawyer in all of Trinidad and Tobago. I will not plead guilty to charges I did not commit. That's my diary today. And I'm going to give you some of my personal opinion because this is my channel. Trinidad and Tobago, you should step up to me and say, Chris, let's work together. You can make an impact on tourism in our country. Because I would love to come back and film all of Trinidad and Tobago and help endorse the country. Bring them back, bring them back, bring them back. Because Trinidad and Tobago is a country that deserves to enjoy tourism and tourism money. So I know whether it be direct or indirect, the government will see this video. The press, if anybody in the press of Trinidad and Tobago would like an interview, I would loudly and I would speak with all honesty, love to talk about the situation because it's stretched on too long. There are bigger problems in Trinidad than me, so I am open to conversation. Send me an email, chrismustlist@gmail.com. Now for the tourism board in Trinidad and Tobago, let's work together. Bring me back. Let's film and document the better side of Trinidad, because when this all ends and I'm found innocent of my charges, believe you me, it wasn't all for nothing. The money that I've put into bail and lawyers, I'm coming back for it. And I think the only reason that Trinidad and Tobago, the prosecutor's office, has not dropped my charge yet is because they know this. They know this. I have a voice, and my voice is loud and clear. I am not guilty of any charge. And when I shout, I'm not just shouting to a few people, I'm shouting to the world. Trinidad, I love you. The charges laid against me are bullshit. The prosecutor for putting efforts against me that they know I did nothing wrong. I think you're not doing your due diligence. Tourism board, I'm ready to work. I love you. government, past government that put me in jail, I have no respect for you. I broke no rule or no law. That is it. Chris Muslis from Winnipeg, talking about my current bullshit charges in Trinidad. Guys, good night. Love you. Hit that subscribe button, please. Good night. And CJ, and Johnny Bravo, and TJ, you guys are the three that really stand out for me. I met so many wonderful people in Trinidad, but you're the three that I would like to shout out right now. Good night, guys. Love you.